I'm happy to have welcomed him in because he's brought me a lot of perspective. Like watching him deal with Chandler makes me question how I deal with Max sometimes. I'm not saying he's a better father than me or I could be a better dad, but that additional skill set, watching and observing, has helped me.
Everyone can learn from everyone, right?
Agreed.
There's no one person that has all the answers that we should all be exalting as the source of truth. Like everybody can learn from the other people that are around them. And if you can't, you're probably in the wrong place and you should surround yourself with more people you can learn from.
Guys, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you have any questions for us, please click the link below. You could ask us any questions via email, and we'll get back to you by the end of the episode.
All right, guys, we're here, episode 44. I have my friend Jonathan, who I was lucky enough to link up with through youth baseball. Our boys were on the same team, and we just kind of hit it off. Jonathan is an amazing father, super present for his son. He's traversing life as a single dad, and he's genuinely crushing it. They have a great balance, and Jonathan shows up and does his thing. He's always there to support his son. It's very admirable, but beyond that, he's also into a lot of refinement stuff. He's in the gym every day. He eats very clean. I wish I could eat as clean. We cold plunged together the other night. But John, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you found so much balance, especially being such a young dad.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's a very kind introduction. So thanks for having me on the show, guys. Appreciate it.
We're happy to have you.
I don't know if I can answer really how I find that balance, right? Because I don't always recognize that I'm in a place of balance until you or somebody else says like, hey, how are you doing that? Like, that looks good. And I'm like, okay, great. Because I thought it looked like shit. Honestly, because it kind of feels that way. So it's good to get the outside looking in reassurance.
Well, that's why we all need like that little support system.
Exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of the time I feel like I'm, doing a tightrope walk with everything. And then from someone else's perspective, it looks like I'm just doing a stroll down the sidewalk. So it's good to hear. I think it's just a matter of, I don't always recognize what is my most successful endeavor in anything, but particularly with like parenting. I just know what is my least successful. I can easily recognize like that did not work. Right. This was not a good idea. This didn't work well. Chandler responded poorly to this. So I just look at those instances and I try to gravitate as far from them as I can in the hopes that whatever is the opposite of that is hopefully what's the best, because I knew that was not.
So you're very aware of what you're doing.
I try to be. Yeah, I try to be.
That's awesome. Chandler's such a good kid too, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Chandler's awesome. We were over the other night. The boys were playing. We hit the cold plunge with Grandpa Tom, and it was just nice to just sit down and vibe with a couple good guys. And Jonathan's super mellow, so like, I'm a big personality. I honestly didn't think he was going to like me when we met at baseball because I'm sitting there screaming. Not like aggressively, but like aggressively. Like, let's go. Like,
for anyone that knows you, they know what you mean. They're not surprised.
Yeah, fair point, Jonathan. But like, I'm the guy cheering for the kid that got his first hit but got thrown out at first base. Like, that was me.
That was literally Chandler too, when he gets
So like, I'm over the top, and a lot of people maybe would get put off by that. Bro, Jonathan... We just vibed, and he made me feel like family, honestly. And I'm happy to have welcomed him in because he's brought me a lot of perspective. Like watching him deal with Chandler makes me question how I deal with Max sometimes. And I'm not saying he's a better father than me or I could be a better dad, but just that additional skill set, watching and observing, has helped me. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's symbiotic. Everyone can learn from everyone, right?
Agreed.
There's no one person that has all the answers that we should all be exalting as the source of truth. Like, everybody can learn from the other people that are around them. And if you can't, you're probably in the wrong place and you should surround yourself with more people you can learn from.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah. And I feel like it's almost easier now to learn from other people with like social media and Instagram and some of the things that come up about diet, exercise, and improvement. Like, you could... It's like at your fingertips now. You used to have to like research
for sure, but
that's the thing. Be careful who you're listening to. But some of these credible people, and the reason why I bring that up is like Dr. Andy Huberman or whatever. He just put something up recently, and it hit me this morning. I was like, oh, dang, dude, this guy is so right. It was talking specific to food. And, oh, no, you know what this one was? Water. he did a test of water in Miami.
Of what,
and the
like
chlorine,
drinking water?
Yeah, like drinking water at a hotel. They ran it through the sink, and he had like these chlorine tests that he was able to see how much was in it. The one cup had like minimal chlorine at all. The very next cup that got poured out, so he was basically saying that it gets like jolted out at like different times. And then he's like, you're brushing your teeth with that, you know, you're taking a shower with that, you're drinking it. So I was like, holy crap, man. Like even the water, we don't know what the heck.
So do you ever see like they'll test alkalinity in waters? Think about how crazy that is. That not even water, just you have to worry about everything.
That's what I mean.
It's so crazy, bro. Like
I know.
And you know, for you or you know, listen, I don't eat so clean. I'm not in the gym as much as you guys. I never processed that. For me, McDonald's was bad, but I was eating it.
Right.
Now I'm actually like thinking at this point in life, like, all right, we got to eat cleaner. This is better. And then you learn that even organic shit is fucking bad for you.
Yeah,
like there's
a lot of it's the branding. It's like you might think it sounds good because of how they describe it, but then you have to understand, well, what does that mean? What's the regulation behind how they can say all natural versus organic and all these like buzzy words where it's okay, what am I actually eating though?
Yeah.
What am I truly ingesting?
Did you guys see the whole thing with like Philip Morris when cigarette sales like kind of like slowed down from what they once were? That they bought into the food industry.
I did
It makes
not.
And they
sense.
brought the same scientists and doctors to put this same addicting type nature into like
To keep coming back.
Yeah,
Like,
like
it's
you ever
not-
have like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something with like a lot of sugar and you're not fulfilled, like you're still hungry, you want more of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
That's
worse, you're
all
not
on
hungry, but you
purpose.
still want more.
Yeah,
Like
you
you're full, but
still
go for another
want
bowl.
more of it. So like that's all like premeditated.
Yeah.
Like damn, no wonder why I can't
So-
have one Oreo. I gotta have the
But
whole
it's funny.
middle row.
It's funny you said Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We're
I
sitting
love
down.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's been a
Max-
while, but
Max had by my fault, a rough night at the first night of football practice. It was hot.
Yeah.
I was pushing him.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I want to see my kid try. I don't want to see him walking, especially if I got to get everybody else up. You got to lead by example for me a little bit.
Yeah.
So like we got home and he was cool. But I said, you know what, bud? Girls went to bed. He loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We went downstairs. We had a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He wanted it without milk, and he looks at me and he goes,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is bomb.
he looks at me and he says, you know why it's called Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Dad? Because it's crunchy.
There you go.
I thought it was like the greatest thing
That's
ever,
awesome.
and I instantly realized that maybe I wasn't as hard on him. Like maybe he dealt with it better than I thought it
Yeah.
was, because he was just like nothing happened, just happy-go-lucky, chilling, short memory.
Yeah.
So it was just funny with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I'm sure.
But I was dying when he said it. And it also, a similar line of thinking, they say breakfast is the most important food, but
They
then
used to.
we were conditioned. That was just a marketing campaign.
That was a marketing campaign, bro.
So what are we really being taught? Because it, like you said, like it's the same kind of marketing. It's just brainwashing people.
Yeah.
And they were also saying that, and they're like, breakfast is the most important food. So eat your Eggos with syrup. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's important, but maybe I should
Yeah.
have like eggs and
Yeah,
Whole Foods.
instead
Like,
of the Eggos.
you know,
Blueberries. I know. And then you wonder why the kids are like all aggressive, or not aggressive, but like acting out in school and not just able to sit there
they're
because they just had
rambunctious and
Lucky
wild,
Charms
yeah.
for breakfast.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
waffles with syrup.
The dyes and this, that, and
Yeah.
like I've started to learn, because there's some like minor behavioral issues I'd like to adjust with diet for my kids. And you start reading like, bro, the stuff I'm giving my kids is terrible.
It's borderline
Yeah.
like toxic at times.
Yeah, it really is.
Like
It is.
it's tough to traverse that, like with no like real education as to food and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's
Well, I think I told you about that night of baseball with the Starburst. You know, Chandler was
did?
eating the Starburst, and dude didn't sleep till like 6 a.m. He was up, and like it was one of the most sad experiences I had with him, because he wants to sleep. He's laying in bed and he's unable to stop fidgeting. And I'm laying with him, and he's like, I want you to lay with me, but like I don't want you to touch me. I feel like my body feels itchy and I can't stop moving. And he's like trying to close his eyes, but he can't control his own body. It seemed to settle down and to sleep. And like, you know, like red dye is like it's not it. It's not it for the kid. Not for anybody, but you know, for him with like, you know, with ADHD and autism, like those things can get further exacerbated by the toxins these kids might be ingesting. And like that's twice that actually happened with literally with the red starburst at a baseball game and was up till 6 a.m.
Did I give him the starburst?
The one, you know, you gave him the Cole and then they went to Chandler. So we're giving you 50% blame on that one.
My bad, bud. My bad. Cole loves Starburst.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so does Chandler, and the only way we knew that was by, unfortunately, experiencing it and being like, again, like I said earlier, I now know that is not the way, so we go the opposite. So now Chandler knows, like, if you see anything that's red and it's not like a piece of fruit, talk to me about it first, and let's figure out if this is good for you to eat, because you don't want to feel that way, and I don't want you to feel that way.
At such a young age, he gets that.
Yeah, for sure. He will look at things because he did not like that feeling either. So if it was me being like dad lecturing, like no, he would be a little more adversive. But because he knows like he did not enjoy that feeling too, he'll remember that more than anything else. It was less of a lecture from dad and more of a self-experience learning.
Oh yeah, we had the same type of situation go on, or not the same, but we had a situation where we had to cut out the Takis.
Yeah.
You ever see those freaking
those
things,
spicy
dude?
things, right?
You ever have them, Billy?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about
Mixed
this before.
feelings on it. They taste terrible, but every time I take another one,
it's almost like you're eating it for the sensation of the mouthfeel, not
Yeah.
like the flavor as much.
Right.
Like
It tastes like you're jacking my son up bad.
Yeah.
To the point that we're like,
He's
all right,
probably
these
going
are
through like
out.
a bag at a time too, right?
These are out. Yeah. Like his body did not respond to probably straight chemicals, whatever the hell's in those things.
Yeah. It ain't coming from the
it
earth.
tastes like chemicals. Like
I can imagine. I never had
You've
one.
never had one?
No, bro. Look at those things.
You remember that shot we took? On here?
Yeah.
Similar, because it's just pure shocking.
Yeah.
Like when you taste
Do you still
it.
have all those ingredients at the house?
Yeah.
Himalayan sea salt.
Should we do it
everything else?
again?
The lemons are probably
Let's get
gone.
back
What
to
was
it.
it, like a health shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this thing on TikTok or YouTube or whatever social media thing. I sent it to Pete. He was like, we should try this. I was like, cool. I had Emily grab everything. Honestly, it didn't do anything for me.
What was it, like
tasted
apple cider
crap.
vinegar, lemon juice, like...
I think there was mustard in
Himalayan
it.
sea salt.
Okay.
You know, lemon juice was in it for
Yeah.
sure.
Was your
There a
brain
whole
just
bunch
in
of
complete
different-
disarray?
Cayenne pepper. No, it didn't do anything.
But like when you tasted it, was your body just like, what was that? Like, I don't know how to respond to
It was
this.
gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I woke up.
Oh, the guy
instantly.
Mike we were with hated it. It was fine for me. I was like, oh, whatever, this is
Yeah,
fine.
but it
And I
was
was already
gross.
feeling good that day, so I was like, oh, I think I feel better
You
now.
thought it tasted good?
No, not the taste,
No,
but
yeah.
like I thought that I got
It
like a
was-
dopamine hit
No, I
that they
did.
said it would.
You just got angry.
Well, no. I woke up a little bit because, and they said it'll give you energy. Yeah, it gives you energy because it tastes fucking awful.
Yeah. You need your full body's energy to respond appropriately to don't do that again.
Yeah, also don't throw up.
Yeah.
We took it on camera. We took the shot. So like I'm sitting here like I want to spit it back out, but I probably shouldn't. So like it was like all hands on deck for that.
Yeah.
What was the other stuff that was in there? There was like the little red
Honestly, I
red
don't know.
spicy powder.
Cayenne pepper.
Cayenne. Oh yeah, cayenne pepper.
I think there was ginger
Ginger
juice.
juice.
Ginger, yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
seems like a usual suspect for something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to say mustard, but
I feel like mustard was in the mix.
I think that's it.
That is a hell of a mix, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
What is it?
Interesting.
Merc?
Turmeric.
Oh,
And it's
turmeric.
another
Yeah,
spice.
yeah.
Another spice. Yeah.
That's right.
But
That's
now
right. Look at this
turmeric-
guy over there in the woods over there in his camo. Him and Zebo, cayenne pepper too.
He's got a ghillie suit on over
Yeah.
there, covering himself in deer
Him and
piss.
Zebo. Oh
Like,
my god.
I don't know. I don't buy into a lot of that stuff, but
It seems
it's
gimmicky to
just-
me. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, man, how about I just eat good food regularly and exercise regularly and
Yep.
sleep?
Yeah. I don't think there's like
Do wonders.
a cure-all in a cocktail you're making from the food store. I don't know.
For sure.
But now, so you see things that amp Chandler up. Do you see things that do calm him down since we're talking about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's ways to kind of go in both directions. So, like, right now, like, the things, and this is probably true for all kids, too, like, anytime I'm letting this dude do, like, screen time, it's so hard to draw him away from that and immediately go to a calm activity. It's so jarring to switch from one to the other. So, like, for me particularly, like, if we're doing any screens, like, bedtime is, depending on if it's school or not, 8, 9, 10, whatever, at 7 o'clock, regardless, we're doing no more screens after that point, unless he and I are going to watch, like, a show that we watch together, and I'm picking the show. So it's like, okay, it's going to be something enjoyable, fun, probably a cartoon, but it's not something that's like, we were talking about this earlier, Billy, it's not like a YouTube video where it's just like crazy, like dopamine hit after dopamine hit, just like erratic energy in video format. It's not that. So those things are the worst. But for him, like, he does really well recently with like, I'll have him just like, hey, go do some quiet playtime in your room, and I'll like, tell him like, you bring the puppy in there if you want to play with her, or you play with your Legos, read your books, and he's been loving that.
That's
so like,
calming.
he's got these comic books right now. They're called Dog Man, and some Captain Underpants was like the original comic from this author, and so he loves them. He'll just sit in his room, and sometimes he'll stay up past bedtime. I'm like, hey, it's time for the lights out, and he's like, can I keep reading? I'm like, yeah, of course, man, you can keep reading.
If he's
like,
enjoying reading, you can.
Yeah, how do I be mad at that, dude? Like, I want to encourage that as much as I can, up until the point of like, all right, it's 1 a.m., like, get some sleep, dude. But like,
put the book down.
Yeah,
time for bed.
But no, he does good with that, and it's like, the thing that I find is most effective for him is like, I got to give him some notice within reason. So I'm not going to say like, okay, stop that right now. You're going to do this right now. Like, I wouldn't like that either. Yeah, I will literally run timers with him sometimes.
Yeah,
like 5 minutes.
We do the timers too.
Yeah, I'll have him set it so he knows I'm not lying. Like,
there you go.
Hey man, set a 5-minute timer, and when that's up, we're gonna switch from this activity to that activity.
No, the kids respond really well to the timer.
And honestly, if people could give me that in my regular life too, I'd probably respond well too. It's very cut and dry. There's no subjectivity.
But that's kind of how I'm parenting. Things that I realize I could have used or would benefit me.
There you go.
I'm trying to implement with my kids.
Man. Trying to give all the things you wish you would have had, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, minus the material aspect of that. The emotional support and stuff like that. Just, my kids are spoiled in the material side, and I need to spoil them more like nurturing. So I'm working on that. My dad was pretty nurturing to me, I guess, and turning over a new leaf now. Yeah, we'll see.
I think the thing that I try to do a lot as well with Chandler is like, I felt like as a kid, a lot of times I was trying to be pulled out of whatever my world was. For me, it was like, I love playing video games all my life. Still do, but it was always like, hey, come out of that and come do whatever we're doing. So it's like, stop playing your video games, we're going to church. Stop playing your video games because I want you to stop playing them, like no other reason. Yeah. And so like, I'll do that as well. I have to. I'm the dad, I'm the the rule bearer of the home. But I'll try and get into Chandler's world as well. So it's like, hey, what are you doing? You're just like watching some stupid YouTube video? All right, let me come watch it with you for 5 minutes. Yeah. Try to understand it. Also understand it, because if it's like absolutely awful, we're not going to watch it again. Yeah. But let me get in there with you. We could talk about it, and then together we will step out of your world and come back into mine, because we now need to go eat dinner or take a shower or whatever the thing is.
I like that.
And it works pretty well.
How old is Chandler? 7?
He'll be 7 next month. Yeah.
Nice.
You do a good job dealing with him and communicating with him. There's instances that I see him interact with Chandler, and I know if that was me and my kid, I'd be like just furious and like a ball of stress, and I know that it would project everywhere. He stays super balanced and super calm. Like, were you always like that, or is that something you perfected?
It's taken a lot of time. I think it's a couple of things. But one, let me ask you first. So like, when you do that, does Max respond to your anger to the point where it's like, that wasn't your best choice, but the task got done? He stopped doing the thing you wanted him to stop doing or whatever. Yeah. Because like with Chandler, he will not. So if I get angry with him and like explode on him, and I needed him to do A, he's still not going to do A, and I look the asshole because I lost my cool with my 7-year-old and I'm in my 30s. Like, I need to be the rational one. Yeah. So for me, it's a net loss. There is no even slight silver lining there. So I'm like, gotta figure out a different way. No, my kid will respond to that because it's so rare that I actually do yell at him like in an aggressive tone. I'll talk aggressively. That's just how I am. But if I actually yell at my kid, he stops whatever he's doing. Yeah. Because he doesn't get yelled at. I mean, we've gotten to a point now where, like, I'll tell Chandler, like, I think it happened when we were at your house, where he was doing something stupid, and I just give him, like, stop, don't do that. And, like, he'll usually get it for the most part. But there's been many times in the past where I would do just that, get angry, like, blow up, and, like, it just turns into, like, he's upset and he's crying, and I'm straight up crying, because I'm like, dude, I feel terrible that I just did that to you. Like, we've had those you don't deserve that.
I'm getting a lot better with my dad guilt, and I'm starting to just realize, I talk about it all the time, but it's just like, you know what? There's something to be said about how we came up. We got to do a little bit of, we still got to be old school. We still got to make sure that these kids are ready to be adults one day.
Yeah. Well, it's all not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. And I've been getting a lot of good support from Abby at home too. So she won't, like, if there were times where I would kind of lose my cool or she would lose her cool, we'd kind of be like, yo, chill out. Yeah. And now she's like, yeah, listen to that. And I'm like, thank you for that.
That makes
because
you
it's not
guys
the first
so
time.
much stronger. Yeah.
You know, it's like you
need some
they ask
solidarity.
You 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well,
Put your
divide and
socks on.
conquer. If they think that they could go to her and it's the opposite of what you say, or vice versa, they're winning.
And
when I was a kid, I always played that game so well.
Of course.
Yes.
I knew which parent to ask, which type of thing too.
And that's what we were saying earlier. You were like, it's hard to co-parent. That's easier for me because there is one man that's making the rules in this house, and it's me, Chandler. Like, there's nobody else. So when you're with me, you're listening to what I'm saying to you, and when you're with your mother, you better be listening to what she's saying to you, because you have a separation of who's in charge when you're at one versus the other. Yeah. So in that instance, I don't have that dichotomy that could potentially work against me if the kids are like gaming the system, basically, which I totally did the same thing as a kid. 100%. Yeah,
for sure.
That's a good point. Go ahead. Sorry, Pete.
No, I was just going to say, you were talking to us a little bit about some anxiety, some therapy, and different things like that. How long has that been a part of your life with the therapy? And did you have any moments that kind of forced you into that realm? Because we really did start this with the goal of helping men navigate life.
Yeah. And how long it's been in my life? Not long enough.
Okay.
Certainly, it was late to jump on the ship.
Okay.
I wish I would have done it way sooner in my life.
Better late than never.
Yeah, but I think it's also an instance of you don't know what you don't know, right? At 22, 23, when I probably could have started really using some therapy, I had no idea that what it existed, the capacity in which it existed. For me, at that point, if I had to guess, 23-year-old Jonathan probably thought I'm not sick, I don't need that, stupid, toxic masculinity nonsense.
For sure.
So really, just the past couple of years. Okay. Also, funny enough, a part of it was when I was bartending, I'm I could use some therapy, but I don't have any benefits with this job really, so I can't afford it. I got to pay for school and my son and all this other stuff. So as part of it was a waiting game until I got my job I have now, where I have benefits and can do that thing without it becoming a major expense. Because then it's the irony of, okay, I get to go to therapy, but I'm stressed about therapy because I can't afford therapy. So that was the weird, the
vicious
catch-22 of it. Yeah,
so
for sure.
Something kind of went off when you were bartending that you thought maybe it could benefit you, but you didn't go in until you got this full-time job with the Bennies?
I don't think the catalyst took place during that time. I think it was more so the awareness of the catalyst that had been there for so long prior. In that, I grew up I'm one of 9 kids, so anxiety is probably all of our, middle name in some way, shape, or form.
Really? Where'd you grow up?
Where location-wise, or where in the family of hierarchy?
I mean, both.
Or both, I guess. Right, one out.
Give it all.
So we were Tom's River for most of my younger childhood until I was about 12. And then South Florida for a few years until I think I was about 15, give or take. And then I was in North Carolina for all my formative years. So my high school years were North Carolina. So I still have a lot of roots there, a lot of friends. Most of my family is actually still there. And then I came back up here at 19. So I've been here since. So I'm definitely through and through a New Jersey dude.
What brought you back to Jersey?
To come be with my family, yeah. So they were up in New Jersey in Millstone. I came up to be with them. And then 2 years later, they were like, hey, we're leaving again. So I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm staying here, man. So I've been on my own since I was 20.
God bless.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It just made more sense that way. I'm like, all right, I don't want to rely on somebody else where you guys keep needing to make up your own mind. That makes sense. You got to do your thing. I'm going to now do mine. Yeah.
Where are you at in the pecking order as far as the 9 of you guys?
Yeah. So number 4 from the top. So I grew up doing.
So you were doing a lot?
Yeah. And I did a lot of diaper changing, babysitting. So when my son was born, I was
nature.
But I was scared because I'm like, oh shit, it had been so long. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, doesn't seem as bad as I thought it would be. I guess I kind of subliminally remembered how to do a lot of this stuff.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was still really hard and scary a lot of times too. Because that's my responsibility, my son.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh yeah, I have changed a lot of shitty diapers before. This is not the first time I've been here. So yeah.
Oh yeah. When my son was born, my friend who lives in Maryland, my son was the first baby he'd ever held. He's got 3 kids now.
That's crazy.
But my baby was the first kid he's ever held in his life.
He had to be
and
so
I got
scared.
all these cousins, and I'm like, dude, I've been holding babies my whole life. What do you mean you never held a baby? But I guess, because I have 20-something cousins, and I was
Not
one of the oldest
built
ones.
like that, yeah.
So do you think that kind of really kind of prepared you for a lot of different things in life to be able to be kind of responsible for a lot?
Yeah, that is very indicative of who I am. For each of my siblings, we're all very different. And each of our upbringings, how they differed over the course of years, who was number 3, number 5, number 6, so that you're a pecking order in the hierarchy.
What about the 9th?
My little brother, he's a B. So he's got 4 sisters right above him. So he very much, and I'm the next brother, but I'm 9 years older. So he very much was on his own for a lot. and he is very much a free spirit. Like he lived out in Utah last year teaching. He was a snowboarding instructor at Park City.
Solid.
And he taught himself to snowboard like 2 years prior. So
no way.
Dude is just like I'm gonna do this thing and I figure it out kind of vibe. But he's a good dude. He's 22 now, so
that's awesome.
The youngest is an adult, which is crazy to think about.
That's awesome. What about the oldest? How's the oldest? Pretty tough, hard nosed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's 43 now, so it's like such a huge gap too. It's funny because
what's the gap? So there's 20-year gap with the 9 kids, right? That sounds just like my mom's family. My mom and dad are both one of 8.
Family too.
Yeah, my mom and dad are both one of 8, and I think both of them have a 20-year gap from the oldest and youngest.
Yeah, so it's like the big gap between the first and second, and then everything else is like moderately spaced, like 3 years, year and a half here and there. So it's more of like a typical spacing between siblings.
Did you guys have a minivan back then?
Dude, minivan didn't cut it, bro. We had a church van. Yeah,
let's go.
We had a 15 passenger. Yeah, minivan was people sitting on laps. We got 11 people in the car.
Imagine having to take care of 9 kids.
No, I can't imagine. I have 3, and it's a lot.
Yeah, 3. My mom always said 3 was the hardest number because she said you always got 1 left out. You got 2 paired up, 1 on the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you're ever outnumbered as a parent. You got more than the parents at home. So she was like, as you get to 4 or 5, they kind of start to just become their own bundle of chaos. And you're like, okay, all 5 of you are there causing trouble? Great, all 5 of you are there.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Exactly. You know? No, there is definitely something to be said there with the 3 being difficult. And I remember when my daughter was born, I was doing what I called like herding the cattle. Like I would just take the boys somewhere and just be like, hey, let's just let the baby be the baby. Let's get out of here.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, but that had to be awesome for you too.
It was.
Because you had to spend time with Mason Carter and you got a little breather from the hecticness just being locked in the house.
Definitely.
You know, and you're like, you like to spread your wings. You're a social butterfly.
Yeah.
So sitting with a baby all day, I'm sure wasn't it for you during COVID, especially.
Right.
You know, that's.
Yeah, I mean, hot take. I'm not like a big baby guy. Like people have babies, and I'm like, cute baby.
Yeah.
What can it do? Not much. Oh, cool. Like, I'm also bored then. Like the baby's probably bored sitting there hanging, or maybe not. They're having
There's
the time
only
of
so
their life.
much baby talk I could do. Like,
Even as a dad, what are you doing, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
what are you doing?
This time right now is my favorite time.
Waiting for a diaper or something?
Yeah,
like,
just to justify your existence.
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
did something.
Yeah.
Well, we've discussed it. I didn't really connect with any of my kids till they were probably like 15 months and older. Rosie just hated me. But, like, I didn't feel like I had a need. They needed their mother. They relied on their mother. I can hold you. I can talk to you, but like I don't have that bond.
Yeah, where's
with
mom?
You. Like,
you just threw up on me.
Yeah,
Where's mom?
like I know I love you, but I don't even know you. So like, you know, it took me like 2 years to figure out my kids.
Dude, that's how everyone's like, oh, what's the hardest part of parenting? I'm like, right now. And then they're like, what's your favorite part? Also, right now, man.
Yeah,
like the hardest part is that I have so much I want to do and try to do with him all the time. And sometimes he's got his own personality. We might be working against the grain. But the reward of like doing cool things with him, or like I just go out and have a great time with him and some friends, and he's like, I had a great day today. I'm like, those words are magic to me, man.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
It'll snap you right out of it.
Yep.
That's amazing.
It doesn't matter what my day looked like. If he comes and he says that he had a great day today and it's byproduct of like what we got to do together, nothing else matters in that moment.
Love it.
You know, Max is growing like emotionally. Like he's starting to realize, like if I ask him to spend time with me and he says, no, I'm going to go ride bikes with the neighbors. Like I don't mean to let him know that I'm upset, but he sees it.
Yeah.
Last week or, you know, the Saturday my dad passed. On that Saturday, Sunday, I asked him to spend time with me. I wanted to ride bikes, whatever it was. He was like, I'm going to Giovanni's. And I was like, you know what? All right, bro, I'm going to go lay down and watch a movie. He came back in 5 minutes later, and he looked at me. He's like, I'm really sorry, Dad. I love you so much.
Aww.
And I said, you know what, bud? Go with your friends. I love you. Thank you so much. Go with your friends. But, like, they're starting to pick up on cues like that. Like, just, he knew that I wanted to be there with him. And maybe he didn't want to be with me at that moment, but he realized it hurt me.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, he's just getting that emotional awareness.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's powerful to see.
Yeah, well, for me right now, like, I question a lot of things I'm doing. You know, I'm transitioning in life right now and a lot of reflection. So maybe I'm not the best dad. Maybe I am the best dad. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. But I just want my kids to be, you know, afforded all the love. And now they love me, maybe. So
yeah, there's no maybe there. They definitely do.
I know, you see it. They're Jonathan and Tom will come over, and like the girls are all over me. Max is on top of me. Everybody wants to be with Dad, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's special.
It's actually a lot at the same exact time too.
Overwhelming for sure.
Again, hardest but most rewarding all at once, right?
Yep,
So
exactly. That's what I was saying. We were kind of talking last week or 2 weeks ago or something. We were basically breaking life down into like thirds. Hopefully, make it to like 90. So like your first 30 to right now, then the last 30. And I was saying we're currently in the most amazing time, but also the most stressful and overwhelming time simultaneously.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
That's why I told that
shouldn't make
story,
sense,
though.
right?
It's like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best and the worst. My kid doesn't want to spend time with me, but then he knows that I'm upset, and he comes and tells me he loves me and gives me a hug.
Yeah.
You fixed everything, son. Not that it was your job to fix it, but
it definitely gets to be like conversation tennis with like, I have one racket and they each have a racket and a ball. And it's like, bah, they're all looking for me at the exact same time, talking to me at the same exact time. Like, can we pull some deli tickets here? And like, you go first, you stand in line. Okay. Oh, all right. What were you going to tell me? Okay. You're next. All right. What were you going to say? Boom. Okay. You're next. You're next. But instead it's just boom.
rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
And bro, if I don't answer right away, Dad,
I
can't. If there's one thing I hate, it's that. I just start ignoring them until they say, excuse me.
That's what I do. Or please.
Yeah.
You know? And then it'll be like, Dad, I asked you to get me a drink. I'm like, you didn't say please. I'm not getting you nothing.
Yeah.
I'm in the point where I'm like, Chandler, like, Dad, you didn't get my juice cup. You know where it is. You got legs. Go grab it, dude.
Get
it yourself.
Like, if you need me to help you, I will help you. But if it's something you're just being lazy, like, no, dude, go get it yourself.
Yeah.
I just cooked the whole dinner. Go get the juice cup. Like, you good?
Yeah.
So do you cook? Like
All the time.
That's
Yeah.
your.
That's
like
part of
doing
why I eat so healthy is because like I enjoy being in the kitchen. Like
So does Billy.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm eating what tastes good, not what's healthy.
I'm doing both. That's my thing. Like I have gotten so like nerdy into like figuring out how can I make something that is super delicious that Chandler will also like. Hard.
Right.
You know, place to find, but
My
also
kids are
that it's
dino nugget
nutritious.
kids.
Yeah, it's same, dude. But like, I'm trying to get him into like, I've been making food that's like, I'll put a little bit of spicy in there. I'm like, listen, dude, we got to expand the palate a bit, man. Like, I'm not gonna eat bland food the rest of my life, and I'm not cooking 2 dinners the rest of my life. So something's gotta give a little bit. But I'll do things like I'll make a fried rice, and like it's good. I'm making rice. I got chicken, eggs, peas, mixed vegetables in there. And I'm like, I'm gonna eat the hell out of this. Chandler, you're gonna eat this, right? And he's like, yeah. And he'll like, typical 6-7-year-old, he's gonna be like, put honey mustard all over something wild.
Whatever.
But I'm like, dude, if that's the worst we did for food today,
At least he's putting it down.
good day, man. And he'll eat the whole thing. And like I'm teaching him, I'm like, listen, dude, we gotta eat. We gotta eat the rice, get some good carbohydrates. We can eat the chicken. We need the protein. So he'll like ask me when we're eating, like, what is this, Dad? Like, is these chicken tenders protein? I'm like, kinda, but it's like fake. But better than nothing. So, but he gets into it too, where he's like, I want to get big and strong. And it's funny because like his motif for big and strong is it's not me, it's my brother who's 6'3" and like a colossal man.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to be big and strong like you, but then like Uncle Jeremy when I grow up. I'm like, yeah, so you'll be me when you're 11.
That's
and then
it.
Uncle Jeremy when you're an adult.
That's great.
But hey, man, if he's gonna have a role model for size and strength that's not me, I'd rather it be someone else that I also love and know and trust, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what's better than that? So.
Absolutely. And he's doing it the healthy way too. It's not some juice box that he saw on TikTok.
Yeah, right.
I want to look like that guy. Like, dude, that's dangerous, bro.
Yep.
He's looking up to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. That's
now,
it, man.
your brother is in New Jersey?
No, he's in North Carolina.
He is in North Carolina.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you guys get to see him a lot?
I mean, not as much as I'd like, right? Because,
Obviously,
it's my family. I miss them. But we've been, especially the past couple of years, we've done a lot better. I've seen each other at least a couple times a year.
Good.
So me and Chandler and my dad flew down there for Christmas last year, like this past
cool.
Christmas.
Nice.
And then I saw them just a couple weeks ago for my dad's 60th birthday.
Cool.
And so we just try to do, actually, they're coming up in 2 weeks to come see Chandler for his birthday, and we're doing like a beach day with all my family.
Nice.
So we've been making a really good effort to try and just get everybody together when we can, which is hard. It's a lot of us, and we're disparately spread out, and everyone has different other life obligations.
It's got to be a lot of work coordinating schedules.
Yeah, it is, which is why, it makes it that much more rewarding when we knock it out and we all get together, because it's like, cool, we all put in some effort to be here, and it makes it that much more special.
It's got to be an amazing feeling to have everybody together.
It's cool. And then like my son is the first, nephew in the family by a long. Like we have my oldest brother has a son as well, but he turns 2 this year.
Right.
So Chandler's been the only nephew for a long time.
That's
and
how Mason was in my family, but now it's starting to pick up with the cousins and whatnot. But
and he's of age to interact with him. He's 7. Like you can hang out and talk to him and do things, and he's his own person. So like it's exciting for them to hang out with him because they're like, yo, that's like a little you. And I'm like, I know, it's crazy how that works, right? Like, it's a mini me.
That's also scary, though.
Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Mini me.
Basically, yeah. And I mean, dude, with me, my son is like my clone, my spitting image. So I have like existential crises. Sometimes I look at him, I'm like, are we sure you weren't made in a lab? Because this is uncanny. So
do you see like body language being similar too, and like reactions and facial expressions? I know, isn't that crazy?
I see his mom in that way as well. Physically, like his actual physical attributes, he's very much like looks a lot like me. Mannerisms wise, 100%. I see both of us. Okay, nice. Which is so funny to see how you really see like the genetics or like the nurture. We call it a
little like full body mirror.
Yeah. It's funny to see that.
So your kid is watching you and observing you. They're like a sponge. Pete says it all the time. Mm-hmm. They're going to mimic our behavior. Yeah. That's why I keep trying to get Max in the cold plunge. And, now he's going in with me. So he'll do 2 minutes sitting on my lap while I'm in there.
That's solid.
But, we teach them how to be. So you see a little bit of you and you see a little bit of Tiara in there. I see me and I see my wife. And that's just because they're around us. Pete sees him. He sees Abby. They're learning from us. And you guys both are setting all the right cues for them.
As are you.
Trying.
I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, same.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's not there's no destination of I did it, I am the good dad. Like, nah, it's a journey because while everything changes, you're changing. You are. The world is changing. Your child is changing. Everything has to be a continuous learning. It never
There's
stops.
no owner's manual here for us to go through.
I was talking to my dad about this because like 9 kids, like dude has raised quite a few children in his lifetime.
He's got the experience.
Yeah, I would love to have him come on and talk to you guys here. Actually, he would be great. You think you guys would love him?
But 9 kids, I would love to hear how that went.
Yeah, me too. I'd also love to hear him. Like, tell me, Dad, what exactly was the idea there? TV sucked or what? Like, you guys just kept making kids?
You didn't have any heat? You had to cuddle all night? I guess so. So I heard a stat the other day that every kid you have today costs you $30,000 a year, roughly.
Wow. Damn, Chandler's got to get a job.
Damn, dog.
It adds up. I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's
not cheap.
I imagine it only gets more expensive, college, stuff like that. And I hope I could leave my kids something to go to school with, but it's just...
I know, dude, even the meals.
Everything.
Even the meals.
It's
like, we went to Chick-fil-A months ago, and I think it was $65. For fucking Chick-fil-A.
For all you guys
for 5 of us. But still, I guess when you do the math, it's not that bad, $12 a person or something. But I'm like, it's Chick-fil-A. Yeah. How much are the nuggets, fries? What do we get?
The
Happy
CEO
Meal?
from McDonald's said that McDonald's is now too expensive for people.
I heard that.
Think about what we're saying. The fast food is unaffordable. Mm-hmm. How much is everything is insane. It's wild. So, put that in perspective. Like you said, food, on top of all the other shit for these kids.
Another reason why I like to cook, man. Like, I can control my costs so much better that way. I'm going to buy things in large quantities that I know I'm going to go through and small quantities that I know I won't. So I'm not being wasteful, and I cook a lot of food at once, and I have it ready to eat for a couple of days. It's easier.
Yeah, but you almost have to do that. Because for me, I know, for me, cooking for one person, I can't do it. I cannot make enough food just for me or if it was just me and Max. It's not possible.
It's got to be more, you mean, right?
Yeah, it has to be. So, I would cook dinner on Monday, and we would have dinner Monday and Tuesday.
Dude.
That's just how it would have to be.
That's how we came up.
Yeah, well, same. I mean, dude, I grew up because I would cook a lot growing up. Me and all my siblings would kind of, shift in and out in the kitchen. So, I go to cook, and I'm like, all right, that's enough for 9 people. Oh, shit, there's only 3 of us here. I don't need that much food. But, it's habit to always, I look at recipes, and I'm like, so I double it, right? No, that doesn't have to be the case for everything. Right. So...
Can imagine.
Always in excess, man. Always in excess. But I love sharing food too with people. I love cooking for other people. That's one of my biggest happy places I found is if I can make food that's good and tasty and delicious, and then I share it with someone and they also find it delicious and they have one less thing to worry about, man, that's one of my happiest places. I love giving. Love giving. And what's better than nourishment?
My mother-in-law is. She'll be sitting there waiting for your reaction. You like it? I'm like, oh, yeah. I like it. That's why I haven't talked to anybody, because I'm slugging this thing.
My mother or my grandmothers would make the same thing. Every time we get served, is it good? It tastes the same as it has for the last 20 years.
They put a lot of time and effort into that.
Absolutely delicious. Yeah. You're crushing it. Yeah. I don't even know why we're asking.
We get another one.
But they need that reassurance a little bit.
Definitely.
Good times.
I saw something just came up recently and said, and I feel like maybe you shared something along these lines, but it said, the more you help other people get what they want, the more that you'll have what you want. And I was like, damn. And it's like the same type of thing with the food and everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel fulfilled that somebody else is joyful, like, that's a great place to be.
Well, it's a Rick Ross quote that you're talking about that I shared.
Right.
How many people you bless is how you measure success.
That was the one you said, yeah.
Right, I love that quote.
Yeah.
And, you know, with food, like, I grew up, so food was everything. So for me, it's, I guess, like, how I show emotion. So, like you said, it makes you happy if people enjoy it. I'll cook all day because that's what I was taught. Love is food. For my grandparents, my grandmother would make 4 pounds of pasta for 4 people to eat dinner. Like, she was
But
crazy.
it's so much more because it's getting everybody at one
that's what I was
spot,
gonna say.
bringing everyone together.
It's that social aspect. The
Yeah.
families together. Everybody can give each other a hug. You know,
Yeah.
especially for you guys being scattered and so many of you getting to coordinate. But food is love, and I firmly believe that.
Yeah,
And
at
that's
that
why I'm
point, the
built
food
the way I
becomes
am,
like
but-
an ancillary part of the
That's why
experience,
I'm
but
built
one
the
that
way
you
I
need to
am,
have.
son.
So, oh, that
We're
pasta, right?
in an
Bro, I could eat
interesting
pasta all
time right
day.
now with like football season. Like tonight, we're going over to Rough House with DeRouge for like an hour and a half, and then right to football. So like the family meals aren't going to be as frequent here coming up.
Now, what's your practice schedule?
It says on Team Snap 6 to 8:30, but I think 6 to 8.
So we're 6 to 8.
So maybe early dinner, rush job, head over.
I get out of work. I run home.
Yeah.
I grab Max. I go to the football field. We set up
so you're
cones and
so
all
you're
that.
having dinner after probably.
Honestly, last night I didn't even eat
Didn't even
dinner.
have dinner.
I had a bowl of cereal 2 nights before.
Right.
Cinnamon
But
Toast Crunch?
yes.
Did you?
Yeah, well, that was the night with Max.
Yeah.
But last night I didn't eat. I got home. I was so hot.
Yeah.
I drank so much water. I was full. There was no need to eat.
Yeah.
But there's no time to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Isn't
mean,
that crazy?
Yeah, and you are
I feel like
running
my
nonstop.
go-to meal is lunch. That's my
That's when
go-to.
you can get
That's
it in,
what I'm
right?
doing.
Well,
now.
I don't have breakfast, so I don't eat till about 2 or 3 o'clock every day. So the lunch is not.
Now, is
I
that
go
a
hard
new
at
thing,
lunch.
though?
I've been going on an intermittent fasting tip for a long time. Probably real consistent with it since maybe around January, but prior to that, it was a few days a week intermittent fasting.
All right, and do you feel better with it?
I don't know.
Do you feel any worse?
You don't feel any
I'm
worse,
trying.
so
I
you're
don't
still
feel any
doing
worse.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel any worse.
Yeah.
I get a little bit hungry sometimes early on, but I think my body's like real used to it.
Yeah.
I think I'm so habit based with everything that it's just like, all right, breakfast is out. I do kind of Jones for like a pork, leg, and cheese on an everything bagel, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Yeah, but don't we all, right?
Dude,
We can have breakfast
Put one of
tomorrow
those
morning if you guys
down.
want.
Yo,
I'm about
come on,
that.
Billy, you're a good friend. Don't be cracking me to peer pressure because I'll
Bro.
go put 2 of those down tomorrow.
Listen, I'll be honest with you.
Especially
I'll
with
be
the
right
little
behind
drip
you.
egg dipped in.
I can't do pork roll anymore, though.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude.
I'm a sausage guy now.
Oh yeah, well, I'm about
Sausage
that.
and cheese
I'm
with some
about that.
ketchup
Which
and
one, the
pepper?
links or the flat one?
No, the flat one.
Oh, flat one's
Yeah,
bomb.
the links on a sandwich is hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
Those
tough.
are still good too, though.
No, of course. First of all, sausage anyway is delicious.
100%.
But nice flat griddled piece of sausage, some eggs, some cheese.
My
sign me
dad
up.
makes an awesome breakfast sandwich.
Yeah,
Especially if you like it with the egg with like a little bit of runny yolk. Like
That's what I'm
gotta be
talking
runny.
about.
It
Dip that in
is,
the-
he's got it perfected. You take a bite and it just
Oh, you guys are
oozes
killing me right
perfectly.
now.
Oh man, it's fantastic. Dad, we get some sandwiches. We need them for tomorrow morning.
Get them shipped over. Terrace Bagels used to have the most bomb pork roll back
Terrace
in the
was
day.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was
We,
still good, but
yeah.
I think it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely has
Now
changed a little
they're
bit.
in the old what was that, Jamesway shopping center
that
over there?
whole plaza right there. Workout
Yeah,
World, I think, is right
Burlington,
over there.
yeah,
Everything,
World.
it seems
Yep.
like everything's going out of business in there, though. I drove past the other day, and a lot of stuff was empty.
You
the
got
Chinese
the
buffet is
Amazon.
gone.
Oh, dude, we used to do work over
Bro,
there in
it's
high
my
school.
favorite thing in Real.
We used to do
I love
work
the
over
Chinese
there.
buffet.
Dude, one time I made like a 3-foot ice cream cone and like walked it all the way back to the table.
Impressive.
Used to do work over there in high school. You and my friends.
So when I went to RBC, there was a Chinese buffet across the street, and we would get out on half days, and we would have football practice. So we all had to figure out what we were going to do. We would go to the Chinese buffet, and Rob O'Chuzy, who was one of my favorite people in high school, would take the trays out of the thing, bring it to the table,
Oh, damn.
and eat. They would throw us out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Then
I'm
he got
sure.
banned.
I'm
But,
sure. I think one of my buddies got banned as well.
Yeah,
from the
Chinese
one in Freehold.
buffets are my jam.
Do work over there.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bro. Fuck
It's
yeah.
it's a dangerous place to be when you got money in your pocket and an appetite.
You don't even really need
That's
much
the
money.
thing,
You
you
just
can
hit
bail
that
out
the
in
entry
there.
fee, yeah. You can sit there all day and eat.
Yeah, you got spare change in your pocket and an appetite. It's a dangerous place to be.
And you get crab legs at 3/4 of them, too.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Some of those spots got scallops in there.
Yes.
I'm about it. Put plates down over there, too.
There's been far more food talk here than I anticipated.
That's all right.
I must be hungry.
Yeah, there's that telltale sign. It's lunchtime for everybody,
Yeah,
obviously.
coming
So.
up.
Yeah. So, now you mentioned before that Chandler's got some ADD and a little bit of autism or whatever. I'll say on the spectrum, because that's just how I've been taught lately. What have you done to cope with that, or to adjust, or how is there even adjusting?
A lot. I mean, a lot of it is one, seeing medical practitioners. Like, it's not just a let's fix this at home sort of deal. Like, we see doctors and we have psychiatrists we see for Chandler, and we see put him in like outpatient therapy programs to help with speech therapy and occupational therapy, behavioral therapy.
But what have you done for you to manage it? Because it's got to get difficult. I mean,
it's hard. Yeah, for sure. It's hard. It's hard in more than one way. So I mean, I think part of what I try to do to figure it out is one, try to understand from the point of view of these medical practitioners, they're professionals. So what they're trying to do is more objective than what I'm trying to do, because they care about Chandler the way they care about any of the kids they work with. They chose that profession for a reason, right? But there's an objective science behind what they're doing. So I'm all right, let me try to figure out what it is they're trying to say, what they're trying to do. I got to bring some of that into the home because it obviously has some sense. Yeah. But then also figuring out okay, now I know my son better than them because he's my son, not one of 30 kids.
Right.
So how do I then take that and tailor it to what I know is specific to Chandler? And that's like I was saying earlier. I mean, it's not, I figured it out, I'm done, I'm at the destination. It's always changing.
I can imagine.
Especially because, he's, at this age, you guys both know, every year, it's like a different kid in my house all over again. I'm like, oh, you were at 7 or not who you were at 6. You're changing rapidly, as does happen as we grow up, right? So it's okay, I'm kind of relearning a little bit here and there along the way.
So it sounds like, regardless of any diagnostics, we have to go through the same struggles.
It's all, in my experience with me and all my friends with kids, you guys notwithstanding, everybody's doing the same thing. It's basically an uphill battle. You have a couple of stops along the way, a couple of plateaus where you're God damn, look at this view. And then you continue the hard climb, and at the top there's something awesome that's going to be there, but there's still a lot of work to get there. It's just that everyone's on a bit of a different mountain.
And so I have, being on the spectrum runs in my family. We've got cousins and whatnot. So I've learned that there's broad sides to that. I might be autistic. It's a very good possibility. I have tics and stuff like that. And, everybody's got to struggle. Max doesn't focus well. But I feel like it's a spectrum now because everybody could fit on it.
Yeah.
Right. It's so vague.
There's a place for everyone, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yes. And that's kind of where I was going with it. That's why I asked, because I have struggles with my kids, and my kid could probably, all 3 of them could probably fit somewhere on that spectrum. It's up to somebody to say, you meet this criteria, that criteria, but it's so broad. And, that's why I wanted to hammer home, you might have an issue that you think means the world, in your house, but for everybody's going through the same thing. It's a broad world that we're in. Everybody's just adapting, right? So you have daily struggles. I have daily struggles with my kid. It doesn't matter. It's all the same shit.
I think it's such a deep degree of human arrogance to presume that anybody is born without any challenges they need to face.
Bro, I agree.
For anyone to be oh, I don't need to see a doctor. I don't need to everybody's got something about them that could be better. Nobody is born the perfect human specimen. Nope. If you're talking maybe athletics, you'd be Ronaldo could day in his sport, sure. But I'm sure the dude's also got his own challenges that he has outside of being a physical specimen.
Yep.
For sure.
That's almost like the beauty of being a human being. No matter what you look like, your physical ability, your athletic ability, your smarts in the classroom, everyone's going through it.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through something. They've been through something.
Yeah. And the solidarity of knowing that it might feel like you're alone at times and someone might not be having your same experience, but the fact that everyone is having an experience and that solidarity is, I think, what makes being able to bond with people such a beautiful part of human life. I tell all my best friends, trauma bonds are brothers in arms. We're best friends because of the shit we've either been through together or because of the shit we've been through that we can see eye to eye on and talk about that. Very few of my closest friends are friends of mine where I feel like we only ever talk about the light and fluffy. I don't think I have any friends like that. It's usually the nitty gritty conversations are where I get in deep with people. And I'm like, you're my kind of person I can be with.
Yeah.
You know?
I like it.
So, how have, like, with your friends, when you want to talk about that nitty gritty stuff, can they relate to, like, do you guys have similar backgrounds? Like, did you come up together? You know,
Well, you tell me, you're my friend. We talk about it.
Yeah, but our struggles, we came up different.
Yeah.
So, like, for me and you know, you said you're closest friends. We're getting there, maybe. I'd like to say we're close.
As would I.
I'd say our struggles were different, but ultimately our paths are very similar. We're two dads trying to figure life out. We're sitting there at a baseball field watching our kids struggle to win games, and we're the loudest ones cheering in the stands. So, like, yeah, I think our nitty gritty right now is very similar, just in parenting young boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, like, my upbringing is so unorthodox, being 1 of 9. Like, you don't see that a lot in, like, my generation of, like, my peers. So, not that you guys are not my generation, but, like, you know, Billy, you know, 2 or 3 years older or something like that.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years older.
How old are you?
I'll be 32 this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I'm turning 40. Thanks. I'm not Tom, though, so.
Yeah, you're right. But my upbringing is so unorthodox that I've kind of given up on being able to find someone that can truly eye to eye see with my experience. That's no longer a desire of mine because it was a losing battle.
Right.
I'm no longer
Good
seeking
call
that.
with
I'm
that.
just seeking someone that I can say, like, hey, this is my shit. And they're like, I don't get that at all, but here's mine. And I'm like, I don't get that at all, but I get that it sucks. What have you done to make that better? Yeah, like, what have you done to make that better for yourself in your life? Or what have you done to unpack that with those people? Like, have you talked to your parents about how you felt with, like, your childhood? Like, what are you doing about it? That's where I can connect with people, because you might have a different experience that you're coming from, but you might have similar solutions that you're using in today to kind of keep moving forward.
I like it.
You know?
You're pretty balanced, bro.
I try.
I mean,
It's hard. it's a lot of work. It's a daily effort, you know?
yeah.
He's putting the effort in now. You could tell. That's all that matters.
And it's not like you're sitting here just spewing bullshit. Like, you practice
We do
what
that
you
at the
preach.
house, you know?
Yeah,
in
no,
the
that's-
cold plunge.
Yeah. We're cold plunging the other night, and the boys are running around screaming, and, like, I'm trying to explain to Cole and Max and Chandler, like, it's supposed to be peaceful. You're supposed to be, like, finding your place here. They couldn't grasp it.
Right.
Just wild.
No,
Wild.
not at all. But I was fine though. Like I said, Chandler was talking to me. I'm like, listen, dude, you can keep talking. Like, I'm gonna ignore you for a minute, because but I can sit in my serenity amidst this chaos. Because again, my upbringing, like, dude, quiet is weird to me.
Yeah,
like, when I'm home, if Chandler's home with me and I'm home and I'm like, it's too quiet.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Yeah, like, I need noise to know that people are, like, around and active. And so, like, not having any noise around me makes me feel uncomfortable sometimes.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I always like some ambiance going just to feel
Good news,
like
there's always going
life.
to be noise at my house.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
There's usually noise in mine too. So
Mine too, man. Holy cow.
by design.
Yeah.
By design.
So, do you regularly cold plunge?
No, not at all. I would love
You
to
crushed
regularly.
it
Yeah.
at the house. I was impressed.
I do like the you know, DIY ghetto version of it. I just turn my shower on cold and blast it.
That's how I
myself.
started with it. Yeah.
And I started doing that
That's
because
where
he
it's
told
at.
me to start
Yeah.
doing
That's
that.
where it's at.
Yeah, so I'll do that, especially like if I run or exercise in the morning, if I'm doing like a 5 a.m. workout, I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna clean up and like a shower because I'm gross for my day, but then I'm gonna do cold water at the end as well, because then it's like gets me cleaned up and it like gets me I feel so rejuvenated after if I do a morning workout and like cold shower. By like 8 a.m., I'm eating breakfast and have done all that, and most people are just getting their day started. I'm like, man, the rest of the day could go to shit. And I started on a win on my books, like you know, not much is going to take that from me. So.
I used to hate that after workout hot shower anyway.
Yeah,
like you
it's
get
weird.
really sweaty again.
Yeah, I come out feeling dirtier than I went in.
I know.
Yeah. And then
Especially this time of year.
hot showers make me go. I'm tired afterwards, and
I'm trying to wake up.
Yeah, but it's weird because the cold plunge helps me sleep.
I'm glad.
So I don't know. I mean,
But do you ever cold plunge and go like right to bed, or you cold plunge, you wind down, and then you go to
probably
bed?
about an hour.
Yeah, so you're probably like the cold shock is probably gone, and you're now just easing into like the serenity of the experiences, like after effect, you know? Because I feel the same. Like I felt very like at peace after doing the plunge at your house.
Yeah.
And similarly, like if I do just a cold shower, I feel a little like jolted awake immediately after, but 30 minutes later when I'm like dressed and enclosed and I'm warm, I'm like, I feel pretty good right now.
like
I'm so
soothed.
calm. Yeah.
I'm so addicted
ready to
to
take
it.
things on, you know?
What time do you have to pick Chandler up?
Soon.
Head out in like 10.
All right.
Yeah, we got some more time to,
All right. Sounds good.
be deviants online. Pete, I want to get back to you asked me at the top of this what like kind of kickstarted like the anxiety and like how I started like diving into that, and we kind of just, as we do, got a little off topic. But to circle back to that, so like I said, it was when I was bartending that I started to really realize like, hey, I could probably use some of this. I was learning about it and realizing that I like very much could use that help. Yeah. I think part of it was, like I said, there wasn't an initial catalyst that took place then, but I think the realization of what the catalysts were, which was kind of like the nature of my life. So, I mean, I didn't graduate school till I was 29. So just then and there, you look at it like I am behind the 8 ball. You know, that's how I feel, because you look at what is like, you know, a stereotypical and normative experience for someone that's going the route of college, corporate job, blah, blah, blah.
Everybody around you doing certain things, put you in a certain mental state.
Yeah,
okay?
Most people are going to be in their career by like 23, call it, right? They finish school, they start their career. And I'm like, shit, man, I'm 29 and just getting started. Yeah. And I also have like my son, so I can't even get in and be like, work is life, grind to make that time and catch up, because like, no, like work is not life.
Right.
So, you know, that feeling like I'm, okay, am I less than somehow? Have I not done enough? Like, did I screw everything up in all these years preceding this moment? Like, it's all those conversations, those internal dialogues that I have where I'm like, damn, like, I don't like the way that I feel. I don't think this is true, but I can't shake that feeling. What can I do to try to make myself feel better? 'Cause I can't change those things. The past is out of my control. And I have done the right things. I knew going back to school was the right choice, and I've done it, and I've done well with it. Awesome. I know I'm doing the right things, but how can I feel good about doing the right things? It doesn't feel right. It still feels like I've messed up greatly, and I'm now playing perpetual catch up. And that's like, I can't live like that. That's not the lens I can live my life looking through. It's just unhealthy. It's going to breed nothing but, you know, negativity and constant comparison, which is going to steal all of my joy away from me by looking at that guy or this guy and saying, well, they did that, why couldn't I? Well, they're not you, Jonathan. And there's probably things that you can do that they can't. Exactly. It might just be a handstand, but hey, maybe it's a handstand.
Hey, whatever.
I can't do
all
a handstand.
All people are different people, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I think the thing that's been very helpful for me for my framing of how to like come to terms with a lot of that is, one, my job is whatever, you know, like I'm not a person that, for me, work isn't my entire life. I'm working so I can have my life. I want to be able to make the money I can, as much money as I can, to do the things I want with Chandler, and to hopefully in time, as I start to like accelerate my career, be able to have enough extra to do more for others as well.
There you go.
Be able to welcome in like Chandler's friends or neighbor kids and be like, hey, like we're going to do this for dinner. Like come with us. And like that's never a second thought financially. Those are like my only real goals with the career. And so now like having that idea in mind and just thinking to myself like, okay, would it have been great to right after high school at 18 go to college and crush it with my grades and get a great job? Yeah, sure, of course. Like, why would that not be great? But at that time, at 18, I did not have that foresight. I barely knew what college was. I had shit grades from high school. I had no drive to know what I wanted to do. So how can I now, at 31, take this knowledge and use that to judge my past actions? I shouldn't. I absolutely should not, because 18-year-old Jonathan did not know what 31-year-old Jonathan does. I can't judge him for who I am now.
Definitely not.
But those actions also put you in the place you are today.
Yeah,
that all molded you.
For better or worse, it might have been a bit of an ebb and a flow, but we are here now.
Yeah,
there you go.
My father used to tell me life's a sprint, is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah,
and you're living proof of that.
I have certainly sprinted at times in my life too. I'm sure we could all attest to that. But it's definitely a marathon, and it needs to be. You know, like I mean, like when I started my job full time, that's I was telling you, I quit the bartending full time as well, because was I making a lot of money doing both? Yeah, but what are our two most scarce resources? We got time and we got money. And I can always try to make more money, or I can always try to spend less money.
You're never getting more time.
And I can never spend less time doing the things I want. If I want to go spend a full day with Chandler doing that, I can't say, let's do this full day in half a day and get an extra half. Like, no. If I want to spend that time, it's spent, and I can't get it anymore. And so I'm like, nah, money is not where I want to be putting my entire focus right now. I have my career, my job. I want the time back, man. I want time with my son. Like, I missed out on so much of that with him in all the years preceding, because I was working full time in the bar and I was in school. So, and obviously he was at home. So I had so many things going on at once that I never had enough time for any of them individually. The most important, of course, being time with Chandler. Fortunately, I mean, like, you know, he was a baby through much of it, so he doesn't have, I don't think he has much of a recollection.
Much as you do,
yeah, but like you were saying, Pete, like my dad guilt sits heavily on there regardless. Like, I'll never get those times back. Never. So I got to make what I have now count, you know?
I was talking to Maddie Trost a little bit a while back, like specific to anxiety, and like honestly, I'm grateful that I have like anxious belly in life because it means that you're not a selfish jerk. So it's just like,
I like that.
you know, if it completely takes over you, that's one thing, but it's an awareness to know that like you care, and you care a lot about a lot of different things and people and. You know, worry and, you know, maybe fear is kind of in that definition. I don't know exactly what the definition says, but like what I feel in my belly, I'm glad now that I have it.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, then like I said, I'd probably be walking around not trying to help anybody else out, trying to be a selfish prick. And I'm happy with who I am today.
And it keeps you
Took
motivated
me a while,
too.
but yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps pushing you. Mm-hmm. You know, if it was easy and you weren't worried, what's the point?
I know.
It's
a good place to be.
Yeah. I mean, if you use it correctly, you'll build something.
Right.
You use it wrong, you're gonna probably get hurt. Like you got to just make sure it's channeled the appropriate ways, and it could be to your benefit.
Exactly.
But it still, you know, has a dangerous component to it
Absolutely.
when untethered. So
yeah, for sure. And I've been on both sides of it.
Yeah. The other side is much better. The fun side is
definitely
where I try to spend most of my time these days.
100%.
For sure.
I mean, you're generally really happy, so like
I don't have any reason not to be, man. Like
Good.
I am
Bro,
healthy. I am
that's how you gotta
healthy.
live
My
your
son
life.
is healthy. Like my family is healthy. Like I have 8 brothers and sisters. I don't hate any of them. None of them hate me. You know, like and that exists. Some people have siblings. They don't like that truly despise you. I don't have any of that. You know, like everyone's healthy. I have no real reason to be upset about things. Like, do I have things in my life that I wish I could change or that could be better? Sure, but does that make me special that I feel like I should be woe is me? No, that just means I'm also a human like everybody else.
There you go.
Going through that human experience.
I love it.
Nothing special there, so.
That's solid. All
I
right,
love
so
it, man.
I guess we'll wrap up since you got to pick up Chandler.
Yeah.
Definitely go get him.
Talking about good dads, can't be late to pick him up from camp, right?
exactly,
That'd be a bit of an irony
dude.
there.
You're talking about what a great dad you are. Show up late. That's a good call.
I'm going to pick up some beers on the way, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, Jonathan gets out of here and we're finishing up. I just want to close with this. Open your horizons to welcoming new people in because we just linked up and, you know, I couldn't be more thankful for the influence Jonathan has had on me and my family. He's new to my circle, but he's made a lasting impact. So don't be afraid to talk to the person sitting next to you and see where it goes. Everybody can provide some kind of benefit to you, and you could provide some to somebody else. So hopefully we take away a little bit of something from Jonathan and Pete and myself today. And we appreciate you guys. Tune in next week. Click the links, like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bro.
Appreciate
Good
it.
stuff, man.
You're good.
You're an amazing soul, dude.
Thanks,
Great
man.
stuff.